to get the win?
It's always great to get a win. I mean, I love winning. This team loves winning. This organization loves winning. So on any given day to win, it's great.
The difference a year has made for the New Orleans Pelicans. Last season, this team started the season 3-17. That's not an overstatement. This team was actually 3-17. As I said in my last Rudy Gobert video, there were people who at one point legitimately thought that this team would be one of the worst teams to touch an NBA court, which really was kind of disrespectful when you think of some of the bad teams out there. I mean, thinking that they were going to be worse than the 02-03 Cavs or worse than the 2011-2012 Bobcats is pretty harsh. People really thought that the Pelicans were going to be flat out horrible, and in their defense to start the season, they were. Now look, I don't want to be too dramatic. I don't want it to seem like it's some miracle that they're good now. As we all know, they had injuries, the team was young, and Willie Green was in his first year as a head coach, which, by the way, props for not losing that locker room, and also props for having the guts to start a second-round rookie on opening night and giving everybody on the roster a chance, even the unselfish, undrafted Summer League player out of Georgia Tech that forced their way onto the opening night roster. I know that Jose Alvarado had to have some crazy practices because this guy was legitimately one of the most unselfish Summer League players that I had ever seen. While we're giving props and flowers, I would also like to give big ones to CJ also, who saw the opportunity to change the narrative surrounding basketball in New Orleans and has been doing exactly that since his arrival. I can't tell you guys how important his steady vet presence has been. Yeah, so the start to last season was tough for the New Orleans Pelicans, but the journey to its finish would be one to remember. Despite all odds, the Pelicans would play in the first round of the playoffs. They'd go on to lose to the Suns, but if it wasn't for that historic CP3 game and an injury that kept Zion Williamson out for the entirety of the season, then the ending to that story may have been written a little bit differently. As evidenced by that disgusting windmill from one of the NBA's best players, the vibes in New Orleans have been as lit as ever this season. Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans haven't only been winning games, they've been making statements.
And Zion takes it away. Off to the races. Oh my goodness gracious. Joe, what are we seeing? We are seeing a superstar.
December 28th, Zion Williamson would give the Minnesota Timberwolves a dominant 43 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists while going 14 of 21 from the field. Throughout this game, he showcased why he's going to one day be the MVP of the association. His anticipation and willingness to do whatever it takes to win is something that's special and has the ability to radiate through an entire franchise. Zion's anticipation was on full display as he got this steal that led to a go-ahead dunk which ignited the rabid crowd in New Orleans. But remember guys, New Orleans is not a basketball city. I say this sarcastically because there are people that really don't believe in the fan base. While the crowd loved the performance and this go-ahead basket from Z, let's just say that everybody wasn't feeling the same way.
Yeah, I mean, he just ran through my guy, took the ball. He's playing football, we playing basketball. We can't touch him or guard him, so good for him.
Now guys, imagine this. You just got 43 points dropped on your head, and the first thing you do when you sit down for your press conference is say that the other team is playing football. Let me chill because honestly, I thought D'Lo saying that was pretty funny. To be fair to D'Lo, I'm pretty sure this is Zion's mindset whenever he gets the ball.
That's when it just clicked in my mind that if you just run through somebody's face, a lot of people ain't gonna be able to take that over and 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 over again. They just not gonna want that.
Think there's a deeper metaphor there?
Run through a motherfucker's face. Then you don't have to worry about them no more.
Did I mention that Zion rocked a Dickie fit post game? Guys, I love how much Zion Williamson is embracing New Orleans that words can't even describe it. But anyways, to cut the joke short, Zion Williamson is already in that category of how in the world is that guy not getting more foul calls? In the words of CJ, the same whistle that we see for other star players, it's not the same whistle for him considering the fact that he rarely shoots shots outside of the paint. I've seen Zion get flat out mauled and the refs swallow their whistle. Occasionally, he gets calls, but most of the time, it's pretty bad considering how much he attacks. In the last game that Zion Williamson would play in, he would continue to look unstoppable against the 76ers, doing usual Zion Williamson things, grabbing 6 boards, recording 7 assists, and scoring 26 points while going 10 of 12 from the field. Here's your reminder that this is just another ordinary game for Z. The good news is that, well, he played well. The bad news, as you can guess, might not be so good. The bad news is that the Pelicans will go on to lose this game, and Zion Williamson, he would leave this game with what was a hamstring injury, and today we would get an update on that hamstring. According to Woj, Zion Williamson is expected to miss multiple weeks with a hamstring strain, and he will be reevaluated after that 3 weeks. Mind you that being reevaluated in 3 weeks doesn't mean that he's going to return in 3 weeks. It simply means that he's going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks. I'm sorry guys, I know that sounded really redundant. In my last video about the Pelicans, there was a very small group of people who thought I was hating on my favorite team because I highlighted some of our issues. One of the issues that I highlighted was our injury problems. I understand that sometimes people don't want to hear anything negative when it comes to their favorite team. But the fact of the matter is that these injuries suck, and at some point, the fact that they're piling up or lingering starts to get a bit worrisome. Nobody wants their core to not have an ample amount of time together during the regular season to figure things out. According to Andrew Lopez, Zion Williamson, B.I., and CJ have only played together in 10 games this season for a combined 172 minutes. And while I have a mad amount of confidence in the depth that this team has, and players such as CJ, Jose, Trey, Najee, Billy, Herb, Dyson, Jonas, and even Jax continuing to step things up, these injuries are really not what you want. Now, as I normally say, while injuries suck, they do allow for opportunity, and Jackson Hayes has been making the most of his. I'm so happy that the Pelicans unknowingly took my advice and started to give him some minutes amid all of our problems. There's something about going big that I just love. That's kind of part of the reason that I even kind of sold myself on that whole Gobert and Cat idea. What can I say? I guess at some point I got tired of seeing nonstop small ball and to an extent post-ups flat out being frowned upon. Sometimes I wonder if we'll ever see a rule change to encourage more diverse styles of play. To get back to the Pelicans, this team needs for its stars to get reps together in the worst way possible, as the offense looks way different than it did the last time this trio was completely healthy. The last time that CJ, B.I., and Zion were on the floor together was November 21st. This trio has logged so little time together that we've got reporters flat out asking Brandon Ingram if he's going to fit in once he returns.
Well, I'm not going to fit in. Still going to have to give me the ball. I'm still going to have to do all that. But I think I just trying to go out and make my teammates better in ways of playing off the basketball, ways in defending the basketball, different strategies, different techniques that we can do to make things easier and simplify things. But continue to use my voice and communicate on the floor and use my IQ and try to make things easier. That's the biggest thing for me, and continue to try to be the best player I can be.
Now, I don't think that this reporter meant anything by this question, but it is weird how I've already seen the media trying to stir up controversy between Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. With the injuries mounting, the Pelicans need a motivated Brandon Ingram now more than ever. Once he's back playing at the level that we know he can, weathering this nasty injury storm becomes that much easier. A lot of people sleep on B.I., but this man was the glue that held everything together throughout these hard Pelican times. When it comes to B.I.'s injury issue, this is what he had to say. I need confidence in pushing off and confidence to being back to who I want to be. Trying to be explosive, just trying to be myself. That's the biggest thing. If I don't feel like myself, then I know I shouldn't be on the floor. To move on and talk a little about Jonas, since he's been such a hot topic in Pelican circles, this isn't really a bad time to have another player who can carry the load for stretches throughout the regular season. Don't be shocked to see this guy rip off some monster games. Though injuries suck, as I said earlier, I'm excited to see what him, CJ, and company can do while Zion misses time. Hopefully CJ has a couple more of those 42 burgers in his bag, because we all know we'll need all of the help that we can get. Pro tip, if you guys are playing fantasy basketball, I'd advise you to take a strong look at Najee Marshall or Trey Murphy. Guys, in the comments below, let me know what you think about everything. Also, let me know if you think there are any trades out there that the Pelicans should make. Here's a quick reminder that, as I said in my Timberwolves video, finding out the perfect trade becomes that much harder when your core just hasn't spent that much time together. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop. Until our next upload.